Welcome back to Engage with the Page. This week we are very excited because we have a new book for you, one that's been published this year, and it's such a beautiful picture book, written and illustrated by a Canadian Indigenous author and artist, Julie Flett, and the book is...
We All Play, and I actually don't have a hard copy of it, but I was able to get it on Kindle, and it displays really beautifully on my computer as well.
And I think one of the beautiful things about this book is the interaction that the reader is going to have with the text and the illustrations. You know, like all great picture books, not everything is told in the text. And so it's about animals playing and children playing, but the names of the animals are not actually stated in the text. And so you can have such lovely discussions about which animals they are.
So the book is full of verbs, so it's a perfect book to look at verbs with our learners. But one particular verb you might like to look at, especially with your younger students, is the word play. And you can see behind me, I have on the board just a little game that we might play called What's in the Family and What's Out of the Family. And that's a perfect way to introduce word families to students who might not have had a lot of experience with word inquiry, or the younger students. I've actually done this with earlier students, so 3 and 4 year olds. So we're looking at the structure and the meaning of the words, and we can just play with these words.
And we do use the word play so often when we do word families, that because this book is full of verbs, like you said, Lauren, we can look at other verbs or other words and what is in their family and what is not in the family, or what's related. And also because with play, of course, students are going to come up with playing. It is something that they love to do. So that ing suffix you can look at with all of the different verbs and see if you can add it to each of them. And then, of course, with our young ones, they get to act it out and show us what all of those words mean as well.
And I think it's interesting in terms of adding that ing suffix, because you know, some of the bases we're just adding the ing to, and others you'll soon discover with your students you may have to double the last consonant or replace the final non-syllabic e. And so, you know, like swimming or sliding or wobbling, where the e will be replaced. So that's a great way into looking at those suffixing conventions. For many of them, we can look at the past tense as well when we're looking at related words and add that ed suffix. Yes, we'll find some words that we don't actually add ed to.
Hided, we hided.
Right, we don't say we hided. So then we could also start to look with the children about which ones do we not use that ed, which ones are strong verbs.
I was just going to say, and the words are so beautiful themselves, and the alliteration that she's used in writing these is really great for students to encounter. So looking at those pages side by side and noticing the alliteration that she uses, chirp and cheap and slip and slide and peek and peep, just playing with those words with your students.
And they could even, you know, think about how they could add some of those alliteration techniques in their own writing. So another thing that you could do with this text is you could take some of the bases and you could analyse them. So a word that you might like to take that we've already used a little bit before is the word play. So feel the phonemes.
My mum's waiting to get in.
Oh no, she could join us. That'd be fun.
In the waiting room, I might just have to message her.
Let's just have a special guest.
Hi.
Maybe she'll feel the phonemes with us. When you're looking at play, you could feel those phonemes. So p, u, a, p, u, a. So 3 phonemes, and then look at what are the graphings that are representing those phonemes. And lucky you have them on your board there, Lauren, for us.
So P, L, A-Y, play. And then you can tap spell it. P-L-A-Y, play.
And usually when we're analysing free bases with our children to build up that letter sound correspondence, we often choose single syllable words, but there are a couple of 2 syllable bases in the words that are, the things that the animals do. And I think that would be a really interesting word, inquiry, wiggle and wobble, because what's that final E doing in those words? Because I can't hear it. It's non-syllabic, it's silent. So why is it there?
Does that go back, Fiona, to remembering about spoken syllables all having a vowel? Is that connected? Is that?
Well, I think you could analyze the words and see if, is that the reason why it's there?
You're going to send me off to do some research then. Okay, do it.
It's a great investigation with the students, isn't it? So if you had to sum up this book with one word, what's the word that you would choose?
Well, I want to say beautiful, but that's not what you mean. I know you mean what is the book really about? And I'm thinking about how we all belong to the same world. So how the animals and then the children are doing the same thing. So they all belong to this world. So belong or belonging?
That'd be nice. Belong or belonging. Yeah, that's interesting. What about you, Lauren? What would you choose?
I think I have to choose the word play, just because I think that, it's really, children are masters of play, and I think it's just a really nice entry into word inquiry, especially for our young learners.
What would be your word?
I think that I really love the fact that this book is talking to us about the interconnectedness of nature and how animals and children, they both play, they all play. That's why I love your word, Lauren, play, and love your word, Angela, belonging. So I think that I might choose the word interconnectedness, because it really is about how we're so connected. So even I think if you've got older students, sometimes a book like this on the surface looks like, oh, that's so simple, because the text is simple, the concepts are simple, but they're great words to look at and investigate. And then a word like interconnectedness, to try and analyze that and figure out what is the base in interconnectedness? What is that NESS suffix doing? Because now we've got that abstract noun, and that NESS suffix is so useful in lots of other words. And then when we start to use it, it's going to make our writing, way more sophisticated. So yeah, interconnectedness is my word.
So we've spoken so much about the English words in this book and analyzing it, but the author's done such a great job at incorporating with the Cree that's placed in the book as well. So we have so many different cultures and children in our communities. It is a great time to look at translanguaging and look at all of the different words that your students may bring.
Yeah, I went into a little bit of a rabbit hole and started looking up some of the documents that support this book, and there's a glossary. Actually, I think you said maybe in the back of the book as well, and yeah, the glossary with the animal names in Cree. And they have the animal name, like the singular, how they would say it in plural. And then they also have how it would be said, meaning a cute little whatever it was, rabbit or fox or whatever. And I just was looking at the words and noticing, the suffix or the suffixal ending for the plural is an AK or a WAK. And then I love that suffix for the cute little whatever it is. There's an audio of how to pronounce the words in Cree, and then she says, for both baby and child, they don't need the sweet little thing because they're already a sweet little thing.
It is always just great to look into languages in your classroom and how they're structured. And so for this book, you could use the languages of all of your students and think about, how do you say play in your home language? Or because all of the animals are listed in Cree, what collection of words can we get for these animals in all of the languages in our classroom? It would just be a great way to encourage that translanguaging aspect in our schools.
And it reminded me of your word, Fiona, for the book, interconnectedness, because we often, through language, we often see how we are connected with each other. And I think that's a lovely way to bring us together in the classroom.
And a lovely way to bring us to an end this week as we say goodbye to you, and we'll see you again next week.